That's our kind of,
I was scrubbing the bathroom floor before that. Chris is like, I'll do it. I was like, no. I don't want to come home and have to read it. Just
I know, it's easier.
right. I want to do it.
I'll do everything myself.
yeah, I know that feeling at times, so. Okay, this is EasyPeasyKeto. And that name came about very easy because I don't like tracking, I don't like recording, I just want to get my food and eat it. Okay, so I've been calling it EasyPeasyKeto when I've just talked with people around the nation. So that's why our group is now EasyPeasyKeto. Okay, I'm Stacy and it's Ken. Most of y'all know us already, but I'm going to let Ken start with a Bible reading that really pertains to this little group. So I'll hit you up when I need you to flash pictures. And some of you better flash real fast.
Okay. I have a reading here, a letter from Paul to the Corinthians. It's chapter 10, verse 31. It goes, so whatever you eat or drink, or whatever you do, do it for the glory of God. I would like to say when you bring God into your healthy eating, it changes everything. Striving to honor Him with your food and drink choices will brighten not only a heart change, but it will also change your choices. But with healthy food could be eaten for the glory of God. What if you sat down every day in front of you, what if you sit down every day with a heart of gratitude for the plate in front of you? Knowing food was the way to care for the gift of the body God has given you. Thank you for listening. God bless.
Thank you, Ken.
You're nervous, I'm sorry.
We all love you guys.
It's our first time of ever leading a group or anything.
Kind of nervous, that's okay.
Woo! Okay, I just want to tell you guys a little bit about me. Okay, if you want to put up my old picture, my top weight was 400 pounds. I was a little on the chunky side, very unhealthy, and in 1999 I had gastric bypass surgery done. And I lost weight with it, but I never learned how to eat. It was just, you got a little tummy, so you can't eat as much. And I continued to eat all the American diets that's out there and I had tried every diet out there up until that point. I dieted myself to that 400 pounds. I felt like, after the gastric bypass, losing so much weight, I did have excess skin removed. I had big flaps here and there and everywhere. But then I gained back up to 270 pounds. And by that time I'd moved to Cincinnati from Portland, Oregon, and the doctor's solution was going to be band over bypass. To make a long story short, it didn't work. I ended up ICU. I had a system-wide infection. They had to remove it. Trying times. But so there went the band. That was going to be, according to the doctors, my lifesaver. And again, there was no nutritional classes to go with it. I started gaining again after I'd been so sick, and I'd gotten very skinny, but I was so unhealthy. I'd stand up, pass out, fall downstairs because I had no control.
Were you anemic?
Oh, I was many things. And then, if you want to put up my diagnoses, that would be great. And we moved up here. I was previously married, and in 2020 my husband died from a long battle with cancer, and he'd had dementia for 15 years, and I'd been his caregiver. I'm a retired nurse. I didn't really know if I wanted to go on and even live. What kind of a life is this? I am an extremely obese, very, very unhealthy person. And I looked around my house and I have pictures of my kids, my grandkids, my great-grandkids, and I found out we're having 2 more great-grandkids now, and I decided I needed to do this. I needed to live and go on. I started researching and I found keto on YouTube. Of course, this is during the pandemic. I was home by myself. I did lots and lots of reading. I also found a mental health counselor, and I started talking to God. I hadn't been in church for like 40 years, but all that time I knew God was out there, but I didn't have him as a part of my life. I more used him to swear at him than to talk to him. And in May of 2021, my perfect trifecta came into place. My friend Sarah invited me to church here, and haven't missed it since. My mental health counselor, and I started keto from following one of the doctors that we're going to see a little short clip of his tonight. So this was a list of my diagnoses when I started keto. You could see it was quite long. Yeah.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Was the skin removal really bad?
Yeah.
I've heard that it.
I have some before pictures of when they marked my arms to have it done. I actually had it done from the wrist all the way up to the armpits, down around my boobs. That was that many feet of incisions.
I had a
And
nurse told me that they got it like.
oh, I had those done too. I figure I will eventually get into talking about that. And again, I got really sick through it all. I had wounds that opened up that were oozing. It wasn't a good situation. I wasn't healthy. My body was bad.
That's you.
Yeah. So that was my list of diagnoses on my health records at Blanchard Valley Health Systems. And can you put my medications up? And I also provided a list of the medications I was on. I was on over 20 prescription drugs when I started keto. Of course, the doctors, you gotta have this pill to fix that, and nobody ever questioned, what are you eating? That just isn't a part of the medical system. They make their money by prescribing the medications. And as I said, I'm a retired nurse. It was the same thing I did for my patients. So I'm currently down, I'd like to say 138 to 148. I vary in 10 pounds depending on the day. This morning I weighed in at 150, but I've been stressed. I'm retaining fluid. I've been so scared about this meeting coming up that I haven't been sleeping, and all of that makes a difference on your weight. So, but I feel like I'm living my life finally, and I can't go back to that. And so all you guys are even going to help me stay on track. So thanks for listening to my story, and we're going to go on with Stacy Keto. That's how I do it. Ken's going to tell you his story, and he does Ken Keto. Go ahead, baby. Take it away.
My name is Ken, and I used to be very unhealthy. This is my story. I can tell you, as a grade schooler, I was the biggest kid in school. Things picked on and all that. I don't have to go there, but I was very unhealthy. When I went to high school, I just got taller. I stayed the width, so I stayed way overweight and unhealthy. I was allowed to eat anything I wanted, and I ate mostly carbs, it seems like. But I did graduate. I graduated at 16, and right after graduation, I went into the service at 16. I had special permission to go in. And I tell you, that 4 years I was in the military was the best shape I was in my life. I knew, when I graduated, I'm sorry, a little nervous. When I was discharged from the service, I can tell you it wasn't long before I met my wife, Mary. And it seemed like from that point on, I just started gaining weight like crazy because I started eating, well, I've been eating the standard American diet, what our health system tells us. And I just kept gaining weight and weight. I got lower back injury. I've had up to 5 surgeries on my spine because I believe partially it was weight. The doctors kept asking me or telling me to lose weight. They didn't tell me how, but that was okay because I just kept eating the standard American diet and just kept getting bigger and bigger. I can tell you this, at one point, I just had enough. At my place of employment was a nonprofit. They did like a clothing program, and I volunteer half a day and work half a day. And I went in the back, I was with the volunteers, help sorting clothes. This is my wake-up call. I'm sorting men's pants, and I pull out a 52-inch waist. Well, I was a 48-inch waist at the time. And I thought to myself, I'm never gonna get that big. Well, I can tell you it wasn't long after I didn't have a 52, I went to a 54-inch waist. And at that time, I weighed 328 pounds. My body hurt most of the time. My lower back's pounding away, my knees. All my joints seem to hurt real bad all the time. So I was taking pain medication for it, and I had enough. I had to do something with myself. So I found the South Beach diet. And what I did there was, they have a 2-week first you do and then move on. I stayed at the first 2 weeks for 3 months and lost 60 pounds. I felt pretty good, real good, like starting to feel good in my body, but I was hungry all the time. I don't know, I'm sure everybody knows the feeling of being hungry. So I got tired of being hungry all the time. Man, did I start eating. And the fast food and everything, so the weight came back. Weight came back so quickly. Wow, where'd this come from again, you know? So I started fooling myself by, well, I'm gonna eat less of this. The roller coaster started. Weight off, weight on, weight off, weight on. So it was such a defeat. I felt like a loser, you know, and nothing seemed to work. Every kind of little trick here or there I tried to do, it just didn't seem to work. Well, I can tell you, as a little time went on, I lost my wife to cancer. I was so depressed at that time that it's like giving up. I started fasting for 3 days and eating 1. The day I did eat, I ate everything and anything, and just to get full more. And then I fasted 3 more days. To me, it was like a starvation thing, and it's not the healthiest thing I ever did. I continued to do this until I met my wife, Stacy. I was on statin drugs, I had high blood pressure, and I was a borderline diabetic. If Stacy turned me on to keto at that time, and Dr. Berry. Well, it did, realistically, because you're taught the standard American diet, and this is totally not what you're taught. And she turned me on to keto and Dr. Berry. Those two were lifesavers, my wife and this doctor. I can tell you I no longer take statins. My blood pressure is fine, and my A1C is 5.2, doing ketovore is what I call it. I thank you, God, for this. My body doesn't hurt me as much as it used to. I feel better now at 64 than I did at 46 years old. And that's God working. I eat what they call ketovore, meat, mostly meat products, and it's part of keto. And I eat what you call as Ken Keto. God bless you guys, and thank you for listening.
Thank you.
So we just kind of wanted people to know where we came from, what got us here today. So we've only been married 7 months. Everybody else kind of knows it, maybe almost 8 now. Sometimes guys been having fun. So we're going to watch a video from Dr. Barry. It's just a little short, I don't know, 10, 12-minute thing. But first I need to make a little bit of a disclaimer. Anything we say and do, we're not offering you any medical advice. The doctors, both the videos we're going to watch is from 2 different doctors, and they're not your doctors. They're not offering you personal medical advice, but they've lived it. So, and both Ken and I and the doctors have language. We're learning to control it. My favorite word now is
Fruitcake.
fruitcake.
It's a lot better
So,
than it used to be.
yeah, you want to put the Dr. Barry video on. Uh-huh,
Oh, my God.
yeah. We know him personally too.
In this video, let's discuss a ketogenic diet. And you may have heard about this diet. Chances are you have. Word about the ketogenic way of eating is spreading like wildfire, and for good reason. Actually, for multiple good reasons. And I wanted to make a
I
video
like the
to
closed
talk to
caption.
just a
What
very
language do you
basic
have it
thing.
in?
Somebody who's just heard about the ketogenic diet. You may have heard some good things about it. You may have heard some great things about it. Or you may have even heard some bad or dangerous or scary things about it. And I wanted to make a video just for you so that I could talk about the basic concepts behind this diet and help you understand this better because it's so important. So let's talk about the ketogenic diet. Now, if you know someone who's just thinking about starting keto or who has just started keto or you're thinking about it, please share this on your Facebook page. If you know that you have beginners in your ketogenic or low-carb, high-fat group, please share this video to help them learn what this is because they need to know. So let's get into it. The ketogenic way of eating. What is it? What's it about? What's it do? Why is everyone so on fire for this way of eating? So first and foremost, the ketogenic way of eating is low carb. That's very important for the ketogenic diet to work. There are essential fatty acids that you have to have. If you don't get them for a long enough period of time, you will get sick, you will suffer, and you will die. There are essential amino acids found in proteins that if you don't get them for a long enough period of time, you will get sick, you will suffer, and you'll die eventually because you have to have certain fats. You have to have certain proteins for your human body to function properly. Now, what you may not know is that there is no such thing as an essential carbohydrate. There are no such thing as essential sugars, no such thing as essential starches. They don't exist. There is no such thing. You could take a human being and lock them up and feed them only fat and protein for the rest of their life, and they would do great. They would thrive. They would be vibrant and vigorous and happy because there's no such thing as an essential carbohydrate. So the ketogenic way of eating takes advantage of this because we know that carbohydrates can have negative effects in your body if you eat too many of them. And so the ketogenic diet is a very low carbohydrate diet. So it's also a very high healthy fat diet. And so in the ketogenic way of eating, you'll get to enjoy lots of healthy, high-fat foods. And that's because the fat does multiple things for you, okay? Now, there are bad fats that you should avoid at all costs. Fats such as canola oil, corn oil, soybean oil, those are bad, okay? Safflower oil, any hydrogenated oil you need to avoid because they're very bad for you. You need to avoid margarine. I can't believe it's not butter, country crock, any fake oil substitute, Crisco or any of the hydrogenated shortenings, they're not good for you, they're bad for you. You need to stop eating them immediately. And you're going to replace them with good, healthy fats, like butter, like avocado oil, like lard, like olive oil. All of these fats are actually good for you, and you can enjoy them as much as you want on a ketogenic way of eating. These fats do multiple good things in your body. The next thing that you need to know about the ketogenic diet is that it's about whole, real foods. The ketogenic diet is not about pre-packaged Weight Watcher or lean cuisine frozen dinners that you might call them pseudo dinners because there's really no actual nutrition in them. The ketogenic way of eating is not about any product. There's no product for you to buy that you need to do keto right. You don't have to buy keto shakes or powders or bars. You don't have to buy Atkins anything. You don't have to buy low carb, high fat anything. There are no products that someone who's truly teaching you about the real ketogenic way of eating is ever going to recommend to you, okay? So if anybody's trying to sell you exogenous ketones, that's not real keto. If they're trying to sell you bars, shakes, pills, powders, that's not real keto. The ketogenic way of eating is about eating real whole foods. If you can afford organic and grass-fed, that's great, buy those. If you can't afford those yet, that's okay, you can still keto. Okay, you can still do keto on a budget. There are many videos on my YouTube channel here and on other people's YouTube channels that explain to you how to do keto on a budget. You can do keto for cheap if you need to right now. We always want you to buy the best quality whole foods or organic foods that you can afford, but if you can't afford those yet, you can still keto. The ketogenic diet is also the most ancestrally appropriate, DNA appropriate diet that a human being can eat. And I tell people this example, if you could travel, time travel, back in time, 50,000 years, okay? And you're in the northern US, you're in Canada, you're in northern Europe, you're in anywhere in the northern or very southern latitudes, what do you think that you and your ancestors would eat every day? You would eat meat and veg. You would eat mostly meat in many months out of the year. You would eat meat and veg some other months of the year, maybe for 1 or 2 months out of the year, you'd have some fruit or some berries to eat. But on the whole, the human DNA and the human ancestry just knows what to do with a ketogenic diet because it's very ancestrally appropriate. Human beings have been eating a ketogenic diet for millions of years. This is not a fad diet. This is not some new, weird, unheard of thing. Humans have been eating this way since the beginning of time, and even before. So in that respect, a lot of people like to call keto the latest fad diet, and that's kind of silly and short-sighted, sophomoric even. The ketogenic diet has been around forever and will be around forever. What's actually the fad diet is the diet that we've been told to eat for the last 50 years, which is lots of whole grains, lots of carbs, eat low saturated fat, and eat lots of pre-processed products. That's the fad diet, not keto. The ketogenic diet is also very metabolically powerful. Now, what do I mean?
Comunícate en inglés fácilmente. Usa Grammarly para comunicarte de forma efectiva y sentir más seguridad en tu trabajo. Las correcciones al usar de Grammarly mejoran la calidad de tus
You
textos
know,
y
he was in
el
Poland last week. He didn't record this while he was there.
Grammarly ofrece sugerencias de fluidez personalizadas para que te comuniques de forma clara. Descubre por qué el 98% de las personas multilingües que usan Grammarly afirman que les ayuda a escribir con fluidez en inglés. También te invitamos a descubrir
Down
Grammarly,
here in
que
the
te
very
ayuda a
bottom
responder
corner,
rápidamente
skip
como si
that.
fueras tú para que puedas mejorar tu productividad. Escribir en inglés es más fácil que nunca.
Oh, yeah.
Grammarly.com.
Oh, seriously?
Seriously.
Just about everything inflating these days.
Nope.
You may wonder why Mint is deflating the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month.
You know, I sent him the link for it off of my YouTube, but I have the premium that doesn't have commercials on it. But it's just funny, like, what language are we learning tonight?
This one will never see the light of day.
Hey, our first night, well, we'll get it worked out. You know, we could stop with him. You guys get the point of what he was.
The reason that we eat
Thank you.
low carb
Welcome back, Doc.
keto is so that we can control our blood sugar and our insulin. It looks like the more research is done that high insulin levels, pathologically, chronically high insulin levels, lead to almost all the chronic diseases that modern man suffers from. It's from high blood sugar, it's from high insulin. That's what causes so many of these chronic diseases that you and your friends suffer from today. So that's part of what keto does, is it hacks your blood sugar and it hacks your insulin level and puts them back where they need to be. And I think that's the reason for that is because it's the diet humans are supposed to eat. The ketogenic way of eating also optimizes your leptin and your ghrelin hormones, and these keep you from being hungry, okay? The other thing the ketogenic diet does that's very therapeutic is that it helps you have ketones to burn. Your brain can burn ketones just as easily as it can burn glucose, but if you're eating a high-carb, low-fat diet, you don't ever give your body the good fats that it needs to be in ketosis. If you're eating lots of vegetable oils, which actually don't have any vegetables in them, then you're building your neurons and your brain and your cell membranes out of faulty fats. Then those cells are bound to fail eventually. So the ketogenic diet is very metabolically powerful. The next thing is I want you to know is that the ketogenic diet helps your body remember that it can burn fat as fuel. So all the fat that you may have stored on your belly, on your booty, on your thighs, other places, what is that fat? Why is it there? Your body has stored that fat because you've eaten too many carbs for the last few years. Your body stores that, okay? And that's stored energy. That's all fat is. There's nothing magical about it. But if you're eating carbs continuously, your body doesn't have any reason to burn that fat. Only when you bring the carbs down very low and keep the fat high do you remind your body, oh yeah, I can burn fat for fuel just as easily as I can burn carbs. Your body will kick back into ketosis and it will start to burn the stored energy that's on your booty and on your belly. Now, the worst and most dangerous fat of all, almost no other diet can get to. You've probably seen people who go on calorie-restricted diets like Weight Watchers, Flexitarian, Ornish, Jenny Craig, and they'll lose weight, but they still have that belly. That's the most dangerous fat of all. And the ketogenic diet is the diet that is the best at getting rid of the fat inside your belly, inside your liver, inside your pancreas. That's why I love the ketogenic diet so much, is because it gets rid of the dangerous fat first, not last. Another thing you need to know about the ketogenic diet is, like I said before, it's very therapeutic. So many people with chronic inflammation, with chronic immune diseases, notice when they start the ketogenic way of eating, their inflammation gets noticeably better. Their arthritis, their reflux, their GERD, their heartburn, their Crohn's, their irritable bowel, all of these inflammatory conditions just get better and go away. Many people notice that migraines get better and go away. They notice that their ADD, their PTSD, their anxiety, their depression, all of these things it looks like are coming, at least in part, from inflammation. The chemical imbalance theory that you may have been taught by your doctor as a reason that you should take this pill once a day for your anxiety or depression, turns out there's not a shred of research that proves that there's any chemical imbalance at all. More than likely what's going on is that your brain is chronically inflamed from the crap food that you've been eating, and once you start feeding your human body the human diet that it loves the best, which is the keto diet, all that inflammation will go away. Many immune diseases, although there is a genetic component to these, are kicked off and put into high gear because of the inflammatory nature of our modern Western diet. And once you get that diet out of your mouth and replace it with an ancestrally appropriate diet like the ketogenic diet, those immune systems, or those immune diseases that you thought you were stuck with for life, your Crohn's, your MS, all of these others, they just calm down and they quiet down. And all of a sudden, you're not having flares anymore. All of a sudden, when you do have a flare, it's a very minor flare of psoriasis or gout or some of these other conditions that are inflammatory and immune in nature. Another thing that the ketogenic diet that I personally love about it is that it's delicious. You get to eat thousands upon thousands of delicious foods that have grown on the earth or that have run around on the earth. It's a completely natural diet. Now, if you enjoyed this video and it helped you understand more about the ketogenic way of eating, if you'd like to watch my other videos and like to see new videos in the future, consider subscribing to my channel and click the little bell that's right beside the subscribe button. That way, every time I get a bright idea, you'll be one of the very first to know. Also, I've got an Alexa brief now, so if you have an Alexa or the Alexa app, you can enable my brief, and you'll get to hear me run my mouth even more every day about a particular keto, low carb, fasting topic. And so just enable the app. Now, if you'd like to join Nisha and I in this fight, our fight against type 2 diabetes and our fight against uncontrolled type 1 diabetes and all of the complications and suffering that they cause to millions of people every day, you can join us and you can help us fight. You can click on the Patreon link down below, sign up quickly, and you can throw a buck or two our way. You can join our private Patreon Facebook group and help us fight these chronic diseases that people suffer from every day. This is Dr. Berry. I'll see you next time.
But he does have hundreds of videos out there on YouTube that are free, that you don't have to subscribe to anything.
That one's on YouTube,
Uh-huh,
because I want to send it to my son and my daughter-in-law,
yeah,
and of course I want Chris to watch it.
okay. Is there any questions about what he had to say, or we could kind of roll back and ask more questions later? Ken and I had the honor of going to Nashville last September and to one of the convention that him and his wife Nisha was hosting, along with his now 4-year-old son and 1-year-old daughter, and they are all carnivore, even the babies. So, and then we saw him again and got to spend time with him on the cruise. We went on a low-carb cruise this summer in June, and that was a lot of fun. And he was one of the speakers there, and I got to spend a little time on stage even with him and another one of the doctors that we'll watch a video from him another day. But and I had the honor of Dr. calling me fat. He saw my picture and he said, "Oh, woman, you were fat." And that's the way he talks. I like that he said, you know, I was fat. So, you want to go to Dr. Ceddar's video? Now, the next doctor coming on the next video is actually my metabolic doctor. He's from South Africa. He practices in Florida. He had training, some of his training in Michigan, and he's not only an MD, he has a PhD too. So, there he is, Dr. Savets. And his video is even a little bit shorter.
Outsiders for Carb Addiction Doc. And today's episode is about one specific misused term and misused focus when it comes to ketogenic diet. And there's this tremendous argument about whether your ketogenic diet should be based on net carbohydrates or total carbohydrates. And I can tell you right up front, it absolutely, for a variety of reasons, has to be total carbohydrates if you are trying to restore health, lose weight, or be mentally happy. Now, the rationale for net carbohydrates is it has biologic origins in that certain foods contain carbohydrates, sugar and starch, but they're in a form that the human body can't effectively extract them. There may be alcohols, there may be cellulose, there may be a variety of elements that the human body cannot extract. So what we've done is we've created this mystical mathematical formula to determine how to remove carbohydrates from the calculation. Well, first and foremost, if you've seen some of my other work, the most ridiculous thing that anybody could do is count macros. Your body doesn't work that way. Your body does not do mathematical calculations in a preemptive way. It doesn't work that way. Calories are irrelevant in a human diet. Net carbs are irrelevant in a human diet. What your body sees is all the carbohydrates that go into it. It's not what goes in your mouth. It's what goes into your bloodstream that matters. And whether that sugar goes in as a simple sugar or as a starch, the enzymes in your body will break those sugars down, and what enters your bloodstream are 3 monosaccharides: glucose, fructose, or galactose. Galactose primarily from milk, fructose from artificially manufactured foods and fruit, and glucose from a lot of the regular healthy plants and fruits. So those are the sugars that enter your bloodstream, and it's the sugars, those three sugars, that cause the harm and that get you high to the point that you eat them to excess. The problem with net carbs is the concept of net carbohydrates have been hijacked by a variety of different people to sell us crap that makes us and keeps us fat. A lot of the keto lookalikes. So if you get some protein bar that says on the front 2 grams of net carbs, and you flip it around, it's going to have typically 24 to 30 grams of total carbohydrates, which is what you're putting in your mouth. You're putting total carbohydrates in your mouth, not net carbohydrates. Net carbohydrates are a source of mathematical failure, just like calories and macro counting is a source of failure on a ketogenic diet. It's the dominant source of failure. So the simple concept that I advocate for if you're starting a ketogenic way of life is, number one, don't eat or drink anything unless you absolutely know the total carbohydrate content of the food or the drink. Do not judge the carbohydrate content in the context of other healthy nutrients that may be attached to that food. An apple has more sugar in it than a donut. Now, most people out there will tell you the apple is healthy, the donut is not. But if you're an alcoholic, I don't care how many antioxidants there are in that glass of red wine, it's about the alcohol content. It's about the alcohol content, okay? The additives do not make carbohydrates healthy. Additives do not make alcohol healthy for an alcoholic. And remember, it's not about carbohydrates, it's about your relationship with them. So on a ketogenic diet, we count total carbohydrates, period. There's just been too much bastardization and exploitation of net carbs to allow us to shoot ourselves in the foot. And remember, the goal is 0 carbohydrates. The goal of addiction management is 0, abstinence.
Dr. Greer, my wife Susie here. You've probably seen this guy all over your feed claiming that cutting carbs isn't necessary for weight loss.
One of the biggest fitness myths is when people say carbs make you fat. Carbs don't make you fat. I'm a big donut guy.
No need for long hours in the treadmill either.
If you think that I spend 3 hours in the gym every single day and all I do is regular steady state cardio all the time, you're wrong.
Now, I know it sounds too good to be true, but let me tell you, there's more to this than meets the eye.
The science of weight loss was cracked a long time ago. It's not a trend, it's facts. Following all those like trendy fat diets, all those trendy workouts that you see online is literally a waste of time.
I decided to delve into this topic and do some research. Turns out this guy is a celebrity trainer who's gained a massive following for challenging mainstream advice. He claims that what we've been told about weight loss is wrong, completely wrong. I've witnessed thousands of clients on B-Shred transform their lives and achieve their best shapes ever by dedicated, say, 20 minutes a day to 3 simple practices. And you know what? Makes a lot of sense when you listen to what he has to say.
Cardio burns fat, right? No, cardio actually burns calories, usually in the form of carbs in the bloodstream that are then replaced with the very next meal that you do eat and stored as more fat. This is why even when you eat low-calorie foods or you run for an hour a day, you get softer, but you don't actually lose any weight. And this is one of the biggest reasons why most weight loss attempts fail within the first 3 weeks. The truth is that Hollywood's elite actors and actresses, they can get super ripped because they followed a long-ignored technique that was used for generations of bodybuilders and athletes before steroids were even popular. So what's their approach? Well, they ruthlessly cut through the fluff because they have 0 time to waste because their next film role is starting in just a few weeks, and so they can't waste time on the wrong program.
I cut out carbs, sugar, it was just not sustainable. Boom, I gained it back so fast. This time I feel like I've done it the healthy way. I've lost 30 pounds. Just do it. You won't regret it. You're gonna see it too. You're gonna be like, dang, I look good for a
We
while.
haven't seen this part of the video. They cut it as a commercial when we watched it.
Oh, it's a commercial.
You will never
It's an
have
ad.
to be on the treadmill. I want to say slowly the
I
weight
guess
to
I
go
was
up,
ironic.
but it came on faster than I thought it would.
All these foods that you don't think that you ever get to eat when following a diet, I'm eating them and I'm in the best shape of my life. Carbs actually regulate your metabolism. Carbs are one of the best ways to give your body energy. If you cycle your carbs properly, you eat more carbs than you've probably ever eaten on a diet, and you get far better results than you probably ever got.
So I could eat a carb.
a 6XL. I can now say that I'm not hard.
I've lost right at 30 pounds. My jeans were falling off of me.
So you've lost
53 pounds. I went from 189 pounds to 136 pounds.
Dang.
What is the best workout to lose weight? The best way to burn fat and get shape. It's not keto, paleo, fasting, or vegan, and it's not super intense workouts. That ain't how you lose weight. I already did all the hard work to simplify all that information into a very simple and easy to follow plan that literally this is
Like complete
that's a
opposite.
free quiz.
Didn't
It's
you guys
66
just come from the
questions.
gym?
I mean, I followed this program a couple years ago.
It tells you what your body type is. It also tells you the three most important things to do based on what you're doing. And it's completely free. Yeah, click the link if anybody's watching this. Click the bottom type. We'll show you how to get that link live, take a quiz, ask for your email, anything like that. Click the link below this video right now, take my free body type quiz, and get your personalized plan.
I've done keto before and failed.
You can. I have too.
Mm-hmm.
2 years.
Another commercial.
It's hard to see the cursor up there from the side, and you can only click that little bitty box up there. It's easy to find on the top bar, but down in that screen it's not. That's why.
But it's, I guess it's good to see what people,
I wish
other
there was an
people
easy
say.
way
Yeah, and what they think
to
makes it
tab or something
easy.
you could hit the highlight and I could just click in.
And
I never found one on an Apple.
With EasyPeasyKeto, we don't do any of this because all of our bodies are so different.
I was doing macros
Yeah.
and fat bombs and craziness.
Right.
And I was always hungry.
Yeah.
And I was eating veggies I didn't like.
Okay. Well, we're gonna try to change that this time for you.
My name is Jennifer, and I've lost
How long
110
is these
pounds.
commercials?
I've lost 50 pounds.
I didn't have them calculated into our time on our layout. So.
Hey, next time you have to sign in to your account. Have you sign in? You should get the ads since you have a premium.
Yeah.
I don't have a premium.
So now we know.
The reality is there are some carbohydrates in certain forms of meat. Vegetables, for example, and therefore vegetables in the carbohydrate addiction model are free. You don't have to know the carbohydrate content of those vegetables. So counting macros, counting this, forget about it. Early on when you start with preferably just the leafy green vegetables, or the ideal way to go is just pure carnivore, because there are no carbohydrates, or very, very few, in a carnivorous meal. The absolutes in the addiction model are the ones that you are going to eat to excess. The potatoes, your rice, and maybe your sweet potatoes. So we don't look at net carbs or even total carbs down the road. For the first 6 to 8 months of this eating plan, I want you to absolutely know what the total carbohydrate content is so that you can make a judgment call. However, once you've educated yourself, where I am right now, 20 years in, as a fat person, I don't know the absolute number of anything, because you cannot live your life long term by the number. But I know absolutely when I look at anything that there is to eat or drink, whether I should or shouldn't. So in the addiction model, the decision is always binary. It is never about how much or is this, it is either yes or no. And the simple response is, if that was a beer and I was an alcoholic, would it be okay for me to drink? And if it contains carbohydrates, the answer is no. So simplify this, don't count macros, don't count calories. They are ludicrous and your body does not work that way. Know the total carbohydrate content of everything before you eat and drink it to begin with. And once you absolutely know, just apply a yes or no label to everything that's out there. And in my own life, that resulted in me migrating more and more and more toward a carnivore-based diet. And I'm basically an omnicarnivore. Mostly carnivore, occasionally vegetable. But if you want to eat pure vegetables, be a vegetarian with maybe a little bit of right now eggs and cheese, that's fine. but still know the total carbohydrate content, because manufactured foods that are made to have a low net carbohydrate quantity are going to result in keto failure. And remember, the ketogenic diet is no different than any other diet, but 98% or more of diets fail in the long run. It may take a year or two, but 98% of diets fail. And remember, the greatest lesson we've learned, one of the best things that ever happened to nutrition was Dr. Atkins. In the 70s, 80s, and 90s, Dr. Atkins developed his diet. People lost a ton of weight, and it was a net carbohydrate-based diet. People lost a ton of weight. Where are they now? They've all regained their weight back. And the Atkins concept is still a foundation, but it's a long forgotten one. Everybody has moved away from net carbohydrates. Please, 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 for your own long-term well-being. Focus on the total carbohydrate content, and then just focus on yes, no. Recategorize your eating. Okay, please do that. After 20 years of doing this, personally with my patients, I've seen too many train wrecks. Evangelists who go by the wayside. Please don't make the same mistakes we've made over and over and over again. Total carbohydrates, not net carbohydrates, no lookalikes. It's that simple. If someone's trying to sell you something for your keto diet, stay the hell away from them, unless you've got a pile of extra money that you don't need, that you want to donate to them. Please don't buy keto lookalikes. Don't make keto lookalikes. Because I don't care what the hell a brownie is made of, what the net carbohydrate content of the brownie is. It's a brownie. You're not eating it for your nutrition. You're eating it for your head. Carb addiction, baby. Thank you.
Is that
Hi folks, this is Dr.
Yeah.
Rob.
Yeah, that's
What's
off,
his
that's
name?
off, Cydez, Cywes.
okay?
And I think I have their names on one of the handouts I just gave you as doctors that we follow. Like I already told you, he is my metabolic doctor, and he does bariatric surgeries himself as a stepping stone to help morbidly obese people. I've got to learn to quit saying, one of the other doctors we follow, Dr. Westman, had that brought to his attention, that he says, too much, and that's not an intelligent sound. You're supposed to know what you're talking about, so I've got to work on it. So he did mention net carbs versus total carbs, and I'm sure that you've all looked at labels and trying to figure it out. And one thing that's really important is to look at your serving sizes. So this here, soup for instance, I just picked it out of the box. None of this food came from my house. We volunteer at the Fostoria Sharing Kitchen, a soup kitchen, so I borrowed it off of their shelves. And I promised them I'd take it back tomorrow, because we don't want it. But here, tomato soup, 2.5 servings in this container. I'm sorry, I'd probably sit down and eat it all. And with each serving, there's 17 total carbs. We strive for no more than 30 total carbs in our life. So I use those for a few good vegetables, seasonings. And it's really important. What I found is I just Googled a lot of stuff, like how many carbs is in that? And when I found out there was, I don't remember, what was it, 27 carbs in an apple or something. So olives, for instance, here, 9 of them for a serving, and there's no carbs to it. So that's a good little snack, even though we try to get away from snacking. But you really need to look and see how many servings, 3.5 servings in this can of vegetarian beans. You'd think they're gonna be good for you. They're vegetarian. There is 24 total carbs in that serving. and you want to try to keep it below 30, and say, I'd eat, well, it says 3.5 servings. If I was really hungry, I'd sit down and eat the whole can by myself. Just, hey, a spoon, and it's gone. Then we have things like albacore tuna. No carbs in this can. So don't even bother looking at the other stuff, but do look at the ingredients. Look at your total carbs and the ingredients. Roasted garlic, mashed potatoes. 4 servings in here, 19 total carbs per serving. Oh, if we were making it at home, we'd share it and eat the whole package with our meal. But look at the ingredient list. And I gave you on the printout a good page and bad page. That will get to be your Bible. Really seeing, what was it, 63 different names for sugars that you will find hidden in our food anymore. And what he was talking about, the lookalikes. Keto bread, it's gotta be good, it's gotta be on keto. And when I started keto, you found this kind of stuff in my house, and the more I educated myself on it, the more of this that went out to our chickens for their dinner. We call ourselves second-generation vegetarians. We feed all this to our chickens. They give us good eggs to eat. So a slice of this bread, even though it is keto bread, has 11 grams of carbs. But when you try netting it out, it says there's 8 fiber. So for the people who believe in that, you subtract that, you don't have very many carbs. No, it's no good. So I guess to really sum up, practice reading your labels this week. Look at what you need to get rid of, what you need to add into your house. And him saying about, Dr. Berry, about the organic, grass-fed meats, all that. You can't afford it. We eat a lot of hot dogs. I like them burnt. It's all of that. Go for it. Your cans of tuna. It is better than the ding-dongs, the Pepsi, etc. Never go hungry. I don't care if this week you go to your keto, total carbs. Eat until you're full. Eat 2, 3, 4 meals if you have to. Don't do the snacking in between. If you get to a point where it's like, oh, I'm hungry, what do I have in there? Think, can you sit down and eat a full meal? Will you eat that pound burger, half-pound burger, that steak, whatever? Could you sit down and eat that? Otherwise, it's something here you're feeding. I tell people, go scrub the toilet. You're not going to want to eat while you're doing it. Take the dog for a walk. Play with the cat. But if you do have to eat, have that snack. There's times we have to do it. But it's a carryover till our meal. And that is something, when I get back on YouTube, on Facebook, I do, under EasyPeasyKeto, post a lot of our meals that we eat, just showing people it's so easy. And I'm starting to post videos of meals I'm cooking. Lasagna, Leslie got to try our carnivore lasagna we made. And it's a lot of fun. But yeah, don't go hungry, eat your meat. Hot dogs, lunch meat, canned fish, even Spam, bacon. Keep a lot of bacon cooked up. It makes great pocket. Stick it in a Ziploc baggie and stick it in your purse. Eggs, hard-boiled eggs. Keep them in the refrigerator. So low-carb veggies, keep them chopped up for yourself. When we started, we ate a lot of veggies. Our bodies have kind of evolved more towards the carnivore end. So I consider myself more of an omnivore, eating more meats, and then I throw in a little veg. Half a jar of asparagus today. But don't fall into the game of having to count all those macros or charting everything, doing it all on an app. You're gonna get burned out. This is not a diet, it's a way of living. So we did, besides all the bad stuff here that we brought along, and you got your handouts, we did bring along some good stuff too. We have a gift bag for everybody. A bottle of water. Nice. Yeah. Have it be your friend. There's not a certain amount of water you need to drink. Some people say, oh, you gotta have ever how many pounds you weigh, X amount of ounces to go with it. And no, when your mouth says you're thirsty, drink. Don't force yourself. You don't have to tell yourself, oh, I gotta breathe. Oh, I need more oxygen. You don't need to do that with your water. And you already saw it. We put some olives in here for your dinner and snacking. Asparagus. Ken and I shared a jar of this, but that's one serving altogether. Can of tuna. Mustard. Mustard goes, you're surprising how good, oh, mustard fan back there. Mustard goes good on everything we have found out. Salmon. You guys can get started. The best time to start this keto way of eating is when?
Right now. Right now.
And we use Element as our electrolytes. As you get more into this, you might start having Charlie horses, muscle spasms and cramps. And usually it is because your electrolyte balance is out of whack. Because the water you drink now is not coming from the ground with all of the minerals. Well, it is, but it's, okay, Stacy, keep throwing everything on the floor. It's been so, everything added to it and everything taken out. And even the food you're eating, the grounds have been overgrazed, overgardened, whatever. How many times do they plant between corn, soy and wheat on all these same fields? How are they getting good nutrition to anything out of the ground? And so I personally need 4 elements a day to keep me from waking up at night with Charlie horses, to help keep my pain level down. Excuse me as I pick up everything I threw on the floor. And I'm almost 70, guys, so give me a break. And I put the link for these on there. There's other electrolytes out there. I know these to be good ones, and that's why I recommend them. Also, salt is not your enemy. Oh, that low salt diet messed up more people. And so we personally use Redmond salt. It's mined in Utah. It comes from deep into the ground. We even get the salt chunks, licks, just like I remember as a child for our animals in Washington before we moved to Alaska, they had the blocks out for the cows and the horses and everything to lick on it. As kids, we'd go break it, to suck on the... So don't be afraid of your salt. So we've given you a sample of Redmond salt, and then Redmond salt, and this is, I believe, lemon pepper also. So we want you to just... Yes, yeah, right now I have been really into their smoked salt. Oh, that's good on everything. And then I threw in a few packages of artificial sweetener, monk fruit and stevia that we use. It's on your list there. But I wanted everybody to get started now. So, so are there more questions about the... Go ahead, Janie.
I was just gonna say, because I've been keto for a while now.
Uh-huh.
The thing that amazed me is after you're on it for a while, you lose all cravings for sugar. It's just amazing, because I'm such a sugar addict. And you totally lose your craving for it, I think.
Go ahead.
Do you guys eat any nuts?
We eat some nuts, and we eat peanut butter even, and almond butter, and make sure if you get your nuts out, you measure those out, because I could easily take that whole bag.
Oh, yeah. We do pistachios and we do unshelled pistachios. So we have to actually shell them. It takes a little longer to get into them.
Yeah.
So by the time you start to get full, you know you're getting full.
Check.
You know, I never thought a person could be hooked on sugar like drugs.
Oh, it's.
And to me, that's what I was. I was so hooked on sugar. At times I'm in the store, you know, the bright colors grab your attention, the cereal and the candy, and I'll look at it and I know I can have one if I want, but I can't.
I can't start.
I've done this. I've set myself up. I think Stacy did it to me, but we've been doing keto for a while. She goes, "Hey, let's go get an ice cream." And I says, "Okay, let's go get an ice cream." It was over on Lido Street, the ice cream place over there. And I got a big old chocolate ice cream. I'm all happy. Boy, they call it the keto flu, but it's like withdrawals or whatever. And I got sick. I said, this just isn't worth it. So she makes her own ice cream through the eggs and all that. Oh, I'd rather eat that anytime. But yeah, I never thought sugar was such an addiction. And it's almost in everything.
We need that recipe.
Yeah, for the ice cream?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, that Stacy does her magic, believe me.
Next time you can bring the recipes.
Right?
And I know she said she's gonna post more on YouTube.
You need to see these. Halloween.
Oh, they are. So cute.
I have one with zombies coming out of the ground. It's a cemetery with zombies coming out of the ground.
I'm probably gonna have to ask Stacy.
Well, ask away.
I'll ask.
Is he?
I know you guys use the element for electrolytes. I've looked at the price of
She loves my God.
Right. So I was wondering.
This is Sunday.
One you could recommend available at Walmart or something
That is a good question.
I love
cost effective.
Yes, Darren's asking because the element to him is so high in price. I know we used others. Do you know any of them that are any cheaper? Or?
You know, I don't, I mean, I know that they're, but.
I've been using Propel with electrolyte, the electrolyte version of Propel, which is 0 carb,
Right, right.
That's what I've been using.
There are other electrolytes out there, but
I know they have like the IV.
when you're no longer buying,
That's what my mother-in-law did. She had the surgery.
Darren asked,
Okay, she had the surgery.
Leslie.
You need a ruler.
Oh, the stun gun, yeah. Darren asked a good question. Element is expensive. Are there other electrolytes out there? There are, and I could even bring in a recipe so you can make your own. But as you get away from shopping all those inner aisles of the store, you're just shopping the perimeter, and in Fostoria, aisle number 11 is where the discounts are, and we find a lot of even good things that if we can't, we take it to the sharing kitchen. But you're saving money. People are, oh, it's so expensive. But when you're not eating all that other food, all that processed, packaged, all those snacks, you can pay a little more for the other foods. And you will get to the point where you saw my list of medications. In January, February, and March of 2000, I added up I got a printout from Rite Aid where I get my medication, and my prescriptions were $1,400 for those 3 months. I don't take that medication at all. Right now, I use eye drops yet for my glaucoma, which my eye pressure has gotten better. And another finding was you know how they do those tests where the little lights go all over? For the last couple of years, I could not see any of those dots above here. I was having to tip my head to see. This last one I went in for, she had never seen that kind of improvement. I could see up here. I don't have to. And inflammation is gone. That's gotta be what it is. But I use my glaucoma eye drops, and I do wear a patch, which is 50-50 THC CBD. That's my only pain control. I might take a Tylenol, 3 times a month. And I see the pain clinic. He's going in for a knee replacement. He had a shoulder replaced. I've had a shoulder replaced. I've had a hip replaced. Since I've started keto, I've had 3 surgeries on my feet, having metal rods put in them. And some people like to, Ken was confronted with, you don't mind if I share this story, his granddaughter, like, Papa, but now since you're on keto, you're having to have your shoulder replaced. You're going in to have your knee replaced just because you started eating this way. No, this was because we were so unhealthy for all those years. We abused our body. Imagine how much we pushed up. Between the 2 of us, we had a combined weight once of 735 pounds. I struggle to pick up, the 20-pound kitty litter I had to carry in today. How did I have that on each butt, cheeks, plus probably on my boobs, So, I am sold on keto, and that's what I want to try to direct you guys to it. So, any questions? I'm going to quit talking.
I've been watching you for a while on Facebook and the way you guys eat, and I started Monday, and I haven't been hungry this weekend. I eat about 3 times a day, but I eat like a late breakfast, and then I eat a dinner, but then I snack a little bit in the afternoon, just something little, some nuts or something.
Yeah, and so, try to, and that's what it is. Just go for your healthy fats. You have a list there, and your proteins, and have that 3rd meal, be it a smaller meal. So it's just, and people talk about keto flu. There's really not such a thing as keto flu. It is a carb addiction withdrawals, like the alcoholic that has to go through the detoxing, the smoker when they give up cigarettes, drug users. That is what your body is doing, getting rid of those carbs.
Is there anything that helps that at all that you found?
I did list some things here. Rest, more rest. Yeah. Tolerate it. Learn from it. Go for walks. Just, what are some of the keto flu? It's on the back of Good Fat Steve, etc. Yeah, well, it's on the 2nd page, of that. Again, that's just avoid strenuous activities when you're feeling that way, when you're going through the flu stage. It can last from 3 days to a week. It depends on how long it takes for your body. Keep eating more fat. Add fat to. We're not counting anything now. We're just trying to get you guys detoxed. So next week you can all come in grumpy at me, not liking me because you're hurting. Oh, that's right. So
I'll be here the weekend.
okay.
6:30 though?
Well, would that work better for everybody if we met at 6:30?
I'm just bringing it up because you mentioned it.
Yeah. Sherry, would Chris be able to come if we met at 6:30? Her husband wants to be here with us, but
He has to get up at 4 a.m. So he likes to be in bed by 8.
Yeah,
it's no problem.
Yeah.
Believe me, when we
It works better for me too.
He's in
So
bed.
6:30 will
Got his
work okay
meds
for
today.
you?
Yeah,
as
it works
it's
better
starting?
for me because I usually go
Okay,
to bed at 8.
okay. So we will plan on starting the meeting at 6:30 next Thursday.
Thanks, everybody.
Can I share one more
And,
thing?
yeah.
Okay. I'd like to share one more thing on joint swelling, when I changed the eating, because my hands, I couldn't close my hands.
And he'd already lost
Especially-
all that weight unhealthy life.
This left hand would never close, it stayed swollen, the joint's so inflamed. Getting rid of the carbs, the heavy carbs and the sugars, I got that. I got this one too. They close, I can feel them, and I don't know, it was many years this left hand just could not close. And it just, when the weight went off, I just want to really share that with you, my joints, almost in every part of my body has the swelling's gone down. Now being
Mine
so
too.
heavy, I gotta have my left knee replaced, and believe me, I'm the last one that wants to go in and have the surgeon touch me again, but I can't function. I'm 64. Like I said, I feel a whole lot better than I was at 46. And if God gives me another 20, 30 years, I want a good life. And-
Quality.
Yes, and how I feel now, like I said, I'm the best I've been feeling in quite a long time. Like I said, I still have my little aches and pains because of what I've been through and put my body through, but it's getting better every time. So believe me when I say your inflammation in your joints will stop. Get rid of the sugar and the carbs.
I know when I went on keto before, I was on for 2 years. When I started, I couldn't go around the block. Like I would make it around the block and be like, my hips hurt, my knee hurts, like I can't walk anymore. We gotta go home. And we had gotten up to walking 5 miles a day.
Yeah. And it doesn't even have to be the big weight loss, it's the inflammation
Yeah.
going away.
I was comfortable walking, so it wasn't a big deal. We would
Yeah.
just, that would be our time, because we had kids at home at the time, so that would be our time to just hang out and chat and visit, and we would just walk while we did it.
Okay, any other questions? Otherwise, 6:30 next
Can we share
Thursday.
names before we leave?
Oh,
No.
no, no evidence.
I'm Andrew. This is Emily.
Hi,
I'm Stacy.
I'm Ken.
I'm Sherry Brookner.
Okay.
Hello, Amy, Leslie.
And you know me.
And Derek.